24-year-old black woman shares her perspective on why black women shouldn't feel obligated to cater to black men, citing trauma and mental health struggles. But Kevin Samuels? He doesn't hold back. He fires back with hard truths about accountability, generational differences, and the role of the church in our community. Now, I've got my own thoughts on this, but before I share them, let's watch this clip together. Trust me, by the end of this, you're going to have a lot to say, so let's get into it.
What's your disagreement?
My disagreement is just basically about the fact that Black women shouldn't have to feel obligated to smile to Black men. We're holding a lot of trauma. We're holding a lot of problems,
How old are
mental
you?
health issues.
Hold on. How old are you?
24.
I'm gonna say this one more time. I need you to pay attention. I need all black women to pay attention. The world does not owe you understanding or me understanding. If you have all this trauma, go seek professional help because the rest of us do not have to suffer you.
Okay, it's easy to tell Black women and Black people
Do you not
in the Black community to get help.
Whose responsibility is it to get the help they need?
But it's not available readily to our community.
That is
that
bullshit.
Easily. With the wealth gap growing, how many people
whose
can
responsibility is it to get the mental health they need? Who?
It is ultimately the responsibility of us to get the mental health that we need. But I'm letting you know that we are very underserved.
You can't make this stuff up. So you say we're underserved. You got to tell me that the therapists that already exist are overloaded. We don't go get help, ma'am. You just had a therapist on here before. I talked to psychiatrists, and first of all, understand who you're talking to. I know hundreds of, anyway. What do black people tend to deal with? How do black women tend to deal with their mental health issues? With a licensed clinician or with Jesus?
That is what's pushed to us since
from
the age that we are little.
No, ma'am.
That's something we grow up
I asked who. Let's see. I asked who they see. We're not gonna play. I'm not gonna play the lily pad game. Did they go to a clinician or did they go to the church?
The church most often.
All right, and these are educated. Most of these women are educated, and they've heard about therapy. They make the choice not to go. No different than I'm gonna switch it up. No different than women understand and hear that being 200 pounds at 5 foot tall is unhealthy. But yet 80% of our women are overweight and 80% of that is obese. They know the truth. They choose to do something else.
The narrative pushed to us most often is that a guy wants a woman with a big ass. He wants, a thick lady.
Accountability is kryptonite to modern women. Ma'am, you say the traumas? If I accept them, then you got to do something about them. Because what about the traumas that the black man has to deal with? But we still have to get out here and be functioning people in society, contributing. You don't get to walk around and say, have a special victim status.
I'm not saying we should have a special victim status, but our circumstance is different. We are women.
You're 24 years old. Is your circumstance harder or easier than your grandmother and your great-grandmother?
Exponentially easier. We have access to information we didn't have.
Exponentially easier, but you're handling it worse. Your grandmother, your great-grandmother actually could work with a black man with more trauma.
Because they understood that the black woman and the black man are on the same side. Now that we are all free and independent and we could do whatever we want to, why would we seek to, be one with the black man? We even think that being...
Thank you. Clip it, slice it, put it on World Star. She said it, not me. Now that you're independent, you don't need to be with. There you go. There you go. And there you go, black man. There it is. She's finally got one to say it.
Build businesses with us.
Your grandmothers and your great-grandmothers had more trauma and more stress and did it better. They have exponentially less and they're handling it worse. but it's because they're free and can do what the hell they want to. They'll need to be with you. So you don't need to feel any guilt for taking care of you, for putting yourself first and making your passion, your purpose, your priority. You don't need to feel guilty because this 24-year-old woman just said it. They don't feel any guilt about it. Thank you. So don't ask black men to care about your traumas.
First off, let's address the elephant in the room, the idea that black women shouldn't feel obligated to smile or cater to black men. On the surface, I get it. No one should feel forced to perform emotional labor for anyone else. But here's where it gets tricky. Kevin Samuels hit the nail on the head when he said, "The world doesn't owe you understanding," and honestly, he's right. Now, before you come for me in the comments, hear me out. Trauma is real, mental health struggles are real, and yes, black women carry a heavy burden in this society. But here's the thing. Trauma isn't a free pass to avoid accountability. If you're struggling, it's your responsibility to seek help. And I know what some of you are thinking, but therapy isn't accessible to everyone. And you're absolutely right. The black community is underserved when it comes to mental health resources. But let's not act like there are zero options. There are hotlines, community programs, and even online therapy platforms that are more accessible than ever. What really stood out to me in this conversation was Kevin's point about generational differences. He asked, "Is your circumstance harder or easier than your grandmother and great-grandmother?" And the answer is obvious. Our ancestors endured slavery, segregation, and systemic oppression with far fewer resources than we have today. Yet they managed to build families, communities, and legacies. So why are we struggling more despite having more? Let's talk about the church for a second. For many black women, the church has been the go-to for emotional support. But as Kevin pointed out, did it go to a clinician or did it go to the church? And let's be real, prayer is powerful, but it's not a substitute for professional help. The stigma around therapy in our community needs to end. You can't pray away clinical depression or anxiety disorders. It's time to normalize seeking help from licensed professionals. Now, let's address the elephant in the room, accountability. Kevin said something that really hit home. Accountability is kryptonite to modern women. And honestly, he's not wrong. It's easy to blame society, men, or systemic issues for our problems. But at some point, we have to take ownership of our lives. If you're unhappy, it's on you to make a change. No one is coming to save you. And let's not forget the double standards here. Black men are expected to carry their trauma silently and still show up as providers and protectors, but when black women express their struggles, it's often met with immediate sympathy. Why is that? Shouldn't we all be held to the same standard of accountability? Here's the thing. Independence is a double-edged sword. Yes, black women have more freedom and opportunities than ever before. But with that freedom comes responsibility. You can't demand independence and expect men to cater to your emotional needs. It doesn't work that way. Kevin also brought up a crucial point about relationship. He said, your grandmothers and great-grandmothers could work with black men with more trauma because they understood that black women and black men are on the same side. And that's the truth. Division gets us nowhere. If we want to thrive as a community, we need to work together, not against each other. Now, let's talk about the narrative that's being pushed in our community. The idea that black women don't need black men is dangerous. It's not about dependency, it's about partnership. Strong families and communities are built on unity, not division. And let's not ignore the role of social media in all of this. Platforms like WorldStar and Instagram amplify these debates, but they rarely offer solutions. Instead of focusing on who's right or wrong, we need to focus on healing and growth. So what's the solution? First, we need to normalize therapy in the black community. Second, we need to stop playing the victim and start taking accountability for our lives. And third, we need to rebuild the bond between black men and women. At the end of the day, this conversation isn't about blaming anyone. It's about challenging ourselves to do better. Trauma is real, but it doesn't have to define us. We have the power to break the cycle and create a better future for ourselves and our community. But let's not stop there. Let's talk about the importance of self-awareness. Many of us are walking around with unresolved trauma, and it's affecting our relationships, our careers, and our mental health. It's time to take a hard look in the mirror and ask ourselves, what am I doing to heal? And let's not forget about the role of education. We need to teach our children about mental health from a young age. They need to know that it's okay to ask for help and that seeking therapy is a sign of strength, not weakness. Another critical point is the need for more Black mental health professionals. Representation matters. When people see therapists who look like them and understand their cultural background, they're more likely to seek help. We also need to address the economic barriers to mental health care. Therapy can be expensive, and many insurance plans don't cover it. We need to advocate for policies that make mental health care more affordable and accessible for everyone. And let's not forget about the power of community. We need to create safe spaces where people can talk openly about their struggles without fear of judgment. Support groups, mentorship programs, and community outreach initiatives can make a huge difference. So, finally, let's talk about the importance of self-love. Healing starts from within. We need to learn to love and value ourselves enough to prioritize our mental and emotional well-being. So what do you think? Do you agree with Kevin Samuels' take, or do you think he missed the mark? Let me know in the comments below, and if you found this video thought-provoking, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more unfiltered discussions like this one. Remember, growth starts with honesty. Let's stop pointing fingers and start working on solutions. Until next time, stay empowered, stay accountable, and keep striving for greatness. Peace.